I'm going to start over. This episode of Getting Tabled is brought to you by Valhalla Hobby. Use code GT2305 to get 5% off of any order over $100. You can find them at valhallahobby.com.
Brought to you by some guys on the internet.
This is Getting Tabled.
With your hosts, Jason the Bruce,
You guy!
George the Yang,
I hope you are all entertained by my inaptitude.
Jason aka Major Socks.
We've been doing this and talking about various stuff. One of the stuff.
Now sit back, relax, and get tabled.
Hello, future people, and welcome to episode 103 with Getting Tabled with your host. He's in a remote location where it looks like it's beautiful and tropical. The Bruce!
It's definitely not tropical, but it is very beautiful here in Tasmania.
And
we also have the main man, the real man. It's the Recruit Socks.
Recruit. I keep on getting worse. Every episode. Thanks, Bruce. I appreciate
My
it.
apologies. My apologies.
Would
It's
you rather-
City Socks, I should remember.
Would you rather I call you plebe?
No, not that one either. and the frozen wasteland of nowhere land is George.
You'd be amazed how frozen it's not. I have no snow. I'm in a high wind warning, and everywhere else around me has snow like it's going out of style. I am jealous.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know.
You're in Wyoming, and it's not that one month of the year that you don't have
My home
snow.
state of Utah has more snow than
Oh, yeah.
all of Wyoming does.
Oh no, the part I'm in, like up north, they've got feet of snow, but where I'm at, it's nothing. It's disappointing. Bruce has taken some time out of his busy schedule from wishing his mother a happy 60th birthday to spend some time with us
Very
and record
much so.
this. So,
Somehow I don't have a hangover. I don't actually know how that happened.
well, there's two reasons. One, you didn't drink, or two, you're a
Oh,
raging alcoholic.
I drank enough.
And or two, you're a raging alcoholic, and you actually can't get hangovers.
No, neither of those. I think I just got lucky.
So, all right.
Anyways, this is 4th anniversary.
It is
podcast.
4th anniversary of the show.
Yeah,
It's that time of year where George and I get all of the reminders on Facebook that we were organising things.
right. Yeah,
And it's the anniversary of when we went live.
like literally to the day, probably almost the hour actually.
Pretty much.
So
It was around this time originally.
let's do this and get into this happy fun stuff.
Newly received or noteworthy information, especially about recent or important events.
So last weekend we had a fun little event called Adepticon. I say little; it's probably one of the largest in the world. And
Nowhere near the size of Gen Con.
and a little-known company, as Bruce likes to call them, Games Workshop, had a whole slew of previews, including the...
Some of which most people expected. There was a couple that we'd seen hints of that turned up. I mean, the big one out of this is obviously the 10th edition of Warhammer. That was like the worst kept secret in all of gaming, pretty much. Like everybody knew that announcement was coming.
Yeah,
And yet they still tried to do the whole, oh, well, that's it. Oh, wait, no, we've got one more thing.
Well, so...
Even though everybody knew it was happening.
You could call it a big thing, even though everyone knew it was happening. The big one, actually, was Lionel Johnson, Primarch of the Dark Angels, finally makes his return. We'd known another Primarch...
Question was... Yep. The question was never whether he was coming back. It was who we was getting first, whether we were going to get him or Russ.
Yeah.
And I believe you were upset because you wanted it to be Russ.
One, because of Space Wolf's army, I would love to have a Russ to just get and put into that army. But I also kind of I've got some stuff to do a Dark Angels army because there is a Space Wolves, there was a Space Wolves Dark Angels stratagem. I don't know if that sort of stuff exists anymore or not, but I kind of picked up some stuff to do a Dark Angel so I could do that stratagem for the sole purpose. And if both the Primarchs came back, I could have both the Primarchs too because, well, why not?
Yeah.
few other things, some Horus Heresy, Kill Team, Seraphim, the Grand Death of the Alliance got some stuff as well, and Cities of Sigmar. We're not going to go too much into this because this is a week old. It was what happened at Gen Con. So,
Yeah.
Adepticon.
Adepticon. Thank you, Socks. But really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like I said, 10th edition and Lionel Johnson, huge news, especially after the not leak of Dante a few weeks earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I did have that on the run sheet as well because, I mean, that's a big one for me, obviously.
Right, but I pulled it off because we had talked about the leak not leak last episode too, so.
Fair. Yeah, that is true. So, yeah, the big news there. I think the ironic thing is that I was making comments about 10th edition while I was watching it live at the time, which is that all of these promises that they're making sound very similar to the ones they made in 8th edition. And the moment that the codexes started, they basically went back on their word. And at the time, it was... Well, at the time, the reaction I was getting from the gaming group was very much of the, no, that's not how that happened at all. No, you're misremembering that. And ironically, like, all of the big YouTubers have now actually gone out and made similar comments to what I did. And now it's just going to look like I'm jumping on their bandwagon. Because it's been a week since.
Well, and I remember I can't remember.
No, I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I can't remember what edition it was, but Games Workshop essentially said this core edition is not going to change. This is the end all be all of core editions, and everything will just be done through codex revamps and codex supplements.
Yeah.
Which
is what happened, but then it immediately went backwards.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, when you figure, you could charge $45 a rule book and then $40 for a codex, that's $100 a person, times how many millions of players? That's a chunk of money. So,
my predictions wise, so we do know that codexes are coming back. They have said that; they're not saying otherwise.
Yeah.
The impression that they're giving is that it'll be a while. They're doing a hard reset. I don't think we actually said that. I actually liked the hard reset. When they did it in 8th, I was expecting them to do it in 9th, and they didn't. I'm hoping that they start doing it every edition at this point. Because a game that size kind of needs a base. The whole half of us are in this edition and half of us are not doesn't work, and it never has.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. What I would love to see is, like, they actually get through and get a full codex release for all armies before they drop a new edition again and everyone has to start over from scratch. Like, give the players 6-8 months to actually run the rule set with their codex. Like, so if Necrons are the last ones to get a codex, give them 8 months to use it. Don't be like 2 months later. Here's 11th edition.
Yeah.
Sorry, Necrons, you're going to wait another year and a half for a codex again. Like,
yeah, it's something that happens quite regularly, and it to some extent it's like it is what it is. But it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. From some of the stuff they said about how, because like I said, codexes are happening still, but they're making promises about how the simplification is not going to go away.
yeah.
I mean, to me, they're basically taking a lot of pages out of the one-page rules books, which makes a lot of sense because that has been taking a lot of attention away from them. And the bloat in 40k has been a problem for a long time. We've commented on it multiple times.
God, there's been bloat since 3rd edition when I started.
My opinion is that so I haven't. My 40k history doesn't go back that far. Not well. It sort of does, but it doesn't. My opinion is that honestly, I don't think that Warhammer has ever recovered from 7th edition. I mean, they certainly tried with 8th, but it failed.
Yeah.
9th was certainly very popular. So, but I don't think the game has ever truly, actually recovered from 7th edition. I'm going to wait for 2 or 3 codexes before I make a final call as to whether. So I like, in theory, what they're talking about.
For sure, yeah.
But because I'm a cynic and I've seen this before, I can't help but think that what they're saying is not what's going to happen. whether deliberate or otherwise.
I think part of the problem with Games Workshop is they've gotten it to where it's such a huge game. I don't think they can ever fully get a complete rule set with codexes out in a timely manner before they're ready to make changes again. I don't think the game is small enough for that to happen. So.
Yeah. The way that I'm hoping that they live up to their promises would start with when the codexes do come out. This is the codex for that army. None of this, I have to buy Space Wolves, but in order to use Space Wolves, I have to buy Adeptus Astartes and so on and so forth.
Right.
It's the rule for your army is the rule for your army. And hopefully just lots of lore to make up for the fact that apparently you only need 2 pages in the data sets to play. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see.
So.
Can we talk about how amazing that Seraphon army looks? Because that, for me, was genuinely one of the highlights.
Is this a link or?
Yeah, you can click on
There it is.
Yeah.
See, and look,
They are very, very pretty.
And Captain Socks already has a skink priest, so this is like the perfect excuse for him to jump into a
just bought this. I just bought this, George.
Buy more. Consumerism. Tasty. No, like this guy right here. It's the right below the left-right scrolling window. That looks good, in my opinion. Like, I would argue the Seraphim was probably one of the fantasy armies coming over to Sigmar that didn't need an update. But this update did so much for them.
They had to get rid of a few things that were undefined crap. I think the highlights for me is the Croxagors. They just look phenomenal. I do like the dinosaurs as well. Probably not as much as I like other things. But this is all very, very pretty.
Yeah, the Scar Veteran on the Agrodon. Oh, he looks amazing.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, so that's just definitely one of the highlights. There was a lot in this, but they're not the only one that made lots and lots of announcements at Adepticon. So,
no.
I will say this: I don't think I really like the look of the models from the from the cities of Sigmar. They just don't do it for me. Doesn't make them bad. I just don't like them.
Yeah, pick an era you're gonna pull from for like what armor's gonna look like. Those helmets with those shields and then the warhammers or the sword. None of that goes together. Yeah. It's like different centuries like slapped onto a model. So.
Yep. Part of what their mission is that they're trying, like the conversation we've had a couple of times now about how we don't think that there's enough room for both. The hell's my tablet doing? There's not enough room for both Age of Sigmar and Old World, and part of what they're trying to do with all of these refreshes is to make a very distinct difference in the way that they look to help combat that. So, which is smart. I'm still not convinced there's enough room for both games, but
I'm not
only time will tell with that.
So, real quick before we move on to the next topic, I went ahead and pulled up the full frontal of Lionel Johnson just to show him off in his magnificent glory before we move on.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, Gilliman, like, okay, yeah, sure, he's a Primarch. He's got all that gilding and all the other junk. He looks over the top like you would expect the Ultramarines who are based off the Roman Empire to look like. Lionel Johnson, he's straightforward and he's there to do business. You know,
I really, really, really love the sculpt. Honestly, I mean, there are people that don't, and that's fine.
They can be wrong. It's fine.
Yeah, like I love the fact that they've decided to age this guy rather than make him essentially look the same as his brother. Storyline reasons, we don't know. I mean, they've kind of hinted at the reason why, but they haven't really said. Which is that basically, like, whereas Gilliman was essentially frozen and therefore didn't age, this guy has
he's just
been sleeping, but he's been alive all of that time. Yeah.
So
I kind of like that.
And with this too, when they release Russ, that guy better have like the most majestic Viking beard ever on any mini.
I have suspicions, and I don't think you're going to like my suspicions.
If you're talking about
Because
the, if you're talking about the idea of him becoming a Primarch turned Chaos, but not an actual demon because he spent so much time in the warp, I've heard that theory.
I suspect that he's basically going to be the ultimate Wolfen, is my suspicion.
Which,
Because where has he spent all this time?
oh yeah,
In the
no,
warp.
for sure.
Where did
Yeah.
they get that from? From the warp.
Yeah, so no, I would totally be all about that. So, anyways, we're gonna move on. Major Socks. What's your opinion on Shatterpoint here? Still,
So I watched a couple of the demo videos, and it is very interesting to see how it plays out. But at the same time, I wasn't too keen on one of the mechanics, and that is so. For example, we've got showing a new starter set that's coming out, or not starter set, upgrade
pack,
kit,
yeah.
expansion pack, yeah, with Grievous, Kraken, and the B2s.
Yeah,
Most
which
likely
I'm
those-
looking at and I'm going, oh, you're so going to end up on my table.
So my guess is those B2s are part of a squad. They're going to be a unit together. The thing that I don't like about Shatterpoint so far, and this is just my opinions right now, is all damage is shared between those two bases. So you could get all the damage on one base, and the entire unit is gone.
That seems kind of lame.
Even if there's and they even mentioned this in the demo. Even if they're totally on different sides of the table, and one guy can't get shot, he's still going to be taken out because he's sharing the same amount of damage and health as his buddy that's being shot at all the time. So that's one thing that I'm not too keen on, how the damage mechanics work.
It makes it very hard to be strategic because
Exactly.
if somebody gets lucky with one unit, but they take both of them out, even though the other one's not anywhere near, I can't like that. It's not really. It's not really. It doesn't lend to fun, but I don't know.
So
I still haven't pre-ordered anything.
So
this Grievous, I love the Grievous.
yeah,
It
Grievous looks great.
amazing.
I do agree. Grievous, the way his pose is with his 4 blades, his lightsabers out, and his cape swishing back. I do like the pose of him.
that's
What were you gonna say, George?
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's what I've got pulled up as the main view right now is Grievous, and that mini just looks amazing.
Yeah.
And it includes they're counting it 4 miniatures, 2 bases with 2 of the battle droids on it, or not battle droids.
B2, yep, they're B2 battle droids.
Okay, yeah, with 2 battle droids on each base, and then the other droid, and of course Grievous.
You got Kraken, which is a super tech droid.
God, that Grievous it looks so good. Is like that looks like a bust or like a high precision model you'd buy from like a scale 75 or something like that, just to pay to display on a shelf kind of thing. Not a mini for a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. I also really like the Dooku box, which we've seen before.
So
That they are very much the direction I would lean in. If I haven't pre-ordered anything, but I am definitely more tempted now than I was 2 weeks ago.
So let me ask you this, there, Socks, based off because you're the big Legion Star Wars guy. Based on the size and scale of this, the number of miniatures in that box, how do you feel about the $50 for the box?
I think that's actually not a bad price because Legion is 28 mil.
Yeah.
Maybe Hero 28. This is like 40. So
Yeah, they are much
I
bigger
think we're
minis.
getting 6
It's basically the same price point as Marvel is, and
Yeah.
there certainly are people that feel that Marvel's too expensive. I don't agree with those people, because you are getting there's some boxes that you get more value out of than others, but generally speaking, it's usually pretty good.
We'll remind folks, this is around $30. This.
Yeah, that's true. He's showing the scheme Star Priest.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, Bruce.
But in terms of the next box, the Luminera Andoli box, it's $50 and you're only getting 4 figurines in it. So I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the downside of their pricing strategy. Yep.
Well, and you could argue at those, in that the Grievous box, it's only 4 bases. Just 2 of those bases have 2 minis on them.
4 figurines, out of those 2 bases. Whereas this other box,
it still is better value though.
Yeah, no, I agree. But the Luminar and Dolly box and Barry's Onfi, this one looks good too. With the Clone Commanders, but again, that's probably going to be a squad unit of Clone Commanders, so that if they die, they both go off the table. Which again, I'm not too keen on that mechanic of the game. It was interesting to see how the gameplay works, and those of you that have seen the demo have seen some of the other mechanics. So I'm still on the fence of Shatterpoint. I'll probably wait, and so I know a couple of guys in my local gaming area that's buying it. I'll probably play a couple games with them and then see if I'm going to dive into it.
We've got a few people in my group that are buying it. Like I said, I haven't pre-ordered anything at this stage. I'm certainly more tempted now than I was. I'm just waiting to see at this stage. It probably will happen at some point. I know that there's definitely some stuff in Legion that you want to talk about, but I think there's a bigger discussion that needs to happen at this point. Because I imagine that you're very happy to have been wrong about Armada.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
We'd written Armada off.
Yes.
We had written it off.
We have. And actually, it wasn't just us. A lot of the gaming community writ it off.
I know, which is why we went in that direction.
Yeah, so in the Adepticon stream that they or AMG stream that they had at Adepticon, they came out and said, we're in the process of doing production and research on new Armada products. They're also looking at timelines for when development of this new stuff is going to be coming out. They did announce another store kit box that's going to be out later this year. That was the gist of everything, but they did say that they are starting to work on stuff. So,
which is more than they've said. Like when there was a tournament that we spoke about recently that was happening, that they were sponsoring, and that was a positive sign.
It was at a Adepticon.
Oh, okay. Yep. But that was a positive sign, but we weren't willing to really get our hopes up too much because all of the signs had pointed towards, this is gone.
Yeah.
They've very clearly been listening, which is good because that's what companies should do. But yeah, there's some decent stuff coming for X-Wing as well, which is good because that's something else that had gone really quiet.
Yes.
From what I understand, the current edition of X-Wing isn't as popular as the old one was, but I haven't played it. I don't know. I'm only going on
version 2. I really enjoyed version 1, but I sold it all so I could get into Armada just because I love the capital ship feel that Armada has. But yeah, going back to Legion, a lot of stuff was revealed during their stream. They showed some of the Ewok packs that are coming out, and some of those look cool. You can get C-3PO as a commander for the Ewok Battle Force box. Yeah, I know, right?
Yep. And he's on the throne and everything. It's amazing.
Yeah, he is. So, but they're also coming out with a Geonosian Battle Force box for the Separatists. Which, if they're bringing that out, who knows? In the future, we may have the Gungans here, Bruce.
Well, if I have to eat crow, I will eat crow. For those that are unaware, I said that I wasn't if they ever did officially release Gungans, that I would buy them and I would play Legion.
It's funny you mentioned that actually, because I actually saw something today. It sounds like they've greenlit it's not canon, but it's a TV series where Jar Jar Binks becomes a Sith Lord.
It's a fool's joke, but yeah.
Yes. It's also a very old April Fool's joke.
Yeah, it is. So, but yeah, there was a lot of. I mean, we could talk about a lot of this stuff for a while, but I mean, it's like George said, the stuff that we just talked about with Games Workshop. It's been a week old already, so we won't go into more in detail with a lot of the stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming out over the next few years with Shatterpoint, Legion, and hopefully soon Armada. So Shatterpoint
wise, we have Hondo Onaka, whose name I'm probably saying wrong. I apologize. Actually, I don't apologize. The Mandalorian and the Child in the least surprising reveal of all time. We've seen Han Solo. We've seen Iden Verso, which is Clone Wars.
No, she's Galactic Civil War. She's part of the Empire. We've seen Darth Vader.
Crew of the Ghost as well.
Yep.
They
also showed
the reveals. Yep.
Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader for Shatterpoint as well in the future. Ewoks even for Shatterpoint as well, not just the Legion.
Ewoks was one of my highlights actually. That's probably one of my favorite reveals from the Shatterpoint stuff.
Are they going to do Wookiees?
Yeah, I believe they are in the future. You might as well
haven't announced anything.
I could kind of get behind a Wookiee, like Kill Team, 48 mil scale thing. Like that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I agree with you. 100%.
I would assume they will be because they're starting to get into not only the Galactic Civil War, but I mean, they have squads of Wookiees in Legion, so I would assume, they're going to have a Wookiee chieftain and maybe a few Wookiee warriors, kind of like the Grievous box, but for Shatterpoint. I would have in the future.
I mean, if you're ever going to release something, I mean, very clearly, it's a very stupid business move to release what has proven to be a fan favorite thing in every way that it's ever been released. So I don't understand why that would be Wookiees.
They're wanting Legion players are wanting a full Wookiee Battle Force box where you can have a full army of just Wookiees as your main army.
I'd be surprised if you don't get that at some point, but they are quite powerful in Legion, I think, aren't they?
They are pretty powerful.
Can't you only take so many of them?
Yeah, because they're considered special forces right now. You can have a Wookiee commander and a Wookiee operative, but you can't have just regular troopers because they're considered special forces in terms of the squad packs. So, who knows?
The surprise of all of them? I mean, there's a few things that we've not touched, like the Grand Inquisitors and stuff, but I think the surprise for me, like Padme, Sabe, and the Handmaidens look so much better than I thought that they would.
Yeah.
That's just something that I didn't even really think of. I mean, it makes sense, but I didn't even think of doing that. And they look amazing. Mm-hmm. Between them and the Ewoks, they were highlights for me.
So while you guys have been talking on that, I've been kind of skipping through the Atomic Mass Game Adepticon video, showing off some of the things y'all have been talking about the last couple of minutes. So,
from your skimming, has there been anything in particular that stood out to you, as the one of us that hasn't seen it till now?
Not really. Like, actually, I just clicked on the Darth Maul Shatterpoint.
Yep.
So, that was a part of the Clone Wars that I really enjoyed. The exploration of is where Darth Maul came from and the witches and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
from memory, I'm trying to remember the mini you're talking about. Isn't that his brother? Isn't that not Maul?
So no, that was
Darth Maul. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it's I can't remember his name. I literally was just.
I'm talking about the mini, specifically the mini. I thought that was his brother, the yellow one. Or orange, or whatever.
Maybe it was. I don't know. I remember, like, stature-wise, the other one was much stockier, built in the chest than Maul was. So, the other one I just clicked onto here was Cad Bane for Shatterpoint. That would be cool. Like, I could see so much potential for Shatterpoint, but here's my thing, though, is it's just another game that they want you to spend money on.
Gee, it's almost like that's how they do business.
Right? And then we've gotten to a redacted by marketing. So.
Yes, which is something that will be revealed on May 4th.
Yeah, so they're going to have a whole bunch of reveals come May 4th. That whole...
Yeah.
And then Star Wars
that whole slide was
as
just
well.
that they could tell us that they were going to show us more, basically.
Yeah.
There is something else from Adepticon in this that I want to mention.
Go for it.
There's an exclusive that was being sold
yeah.
at events.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, the mini is gorgeous, but I'm very upset about this. Because we have had this rant several times. And we gave credit to Atomic Mass Games recently over the whole, like, they were told that they had to do like an exclusive type thing for the actual starting of the game, and so rather than doing an exclusive and making things unfair for those that can't get access to it, they did an early release. But for Legion, they have an exclusive miniature with new sculpts for Darth and Luke, and arguably, I think, probably the best sculpts for both of them we've seen. And you can only buy it at events. In this case, Gen Con. And there's another one in the UK.
And Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah. You cannot get it any other way. The entire community, including me, has been asking Atomic Mass Games if they're going to make this available on their website. And rather than just say no, at least at the last time I looked, basically they've just talked around the question, and rather than just saying no, they've been like, oh, but it will also be available at this event and other events in the future. It's like, yes, but that's not the question that we're asking.
That's not the answer we're needing.
No, that's not.
I have a problem with exclusives. I mean, I understand why they exist, but it doesn't mean I have to like them.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a bigger problem with the fact that they're not just saying, no, we're not making this available outside of events. Now, I don't expect that they should make it available all of the time. Like, TT Combat do exclusives all the time, and we've never had a go about it. But that's because they make them available on the website for everybody to purchase.
Yeah. During that
Infinity does the same thing. Window. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, just to hop in, right now up on the screen is the Inquisitors from the Obi-Wan series for Shatterpoint.
And they look gorgeous.
Those minis look cool.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, that was the rant that I wanted to have. Like overall, like Atomic Mass Games, I think they had a really good showing.
Yeah.
There was something there for everybody.
It was the largest.
They actually spoke about Armada.
Yeah, I'm happy about that myself.
Given the size of Atomic Mass Games and the intellectual property that they're making games out of, I feel they had a really good, strong showing for a convention the size of Adepticon when you have to deal with something like Games Workshop, doing what they do to release a new game, to start releasing all these expansion armies for this new game already. And then continue to support Legion, continuing essentially saying, hey, no, we're going to bring stuff back for Armada. Like, that was huge for that community. So,
I mean, Games Workshop, whenever they have a big announcement like this, take up a lot of attention because it's Games Workshop and they have an 80% market share, unfortunately. But I don't think I'm exaggerating by saying I think Atomic Mass Games showed that they can, that they had a showing just as good as Games Workshop. And Games Workshop revealed two very huge things. One of which being the line, the other one being 10th edition. And make no mistake about it, they are huge things for the Warhammer community. But I think Atomic Mass Games have genuinely shown that they have some legs.
For sure.
So far, from what we've seen, I think the sculpting on the Star Wars stuff so far is actually a little better than the Marvel stuff too.
Well, and I think it's a little if you look at, the Star Wars, you have, actors in special effects suits, stuff like that, with a very distinct look. Marvel, which artist is working on the book for this, series of months? Like, there's some artists where it's like,
yes,
their art style, in my opinion, I was like, God, this is crap. They're a professional artist in a comic book. This looks like junk. And then some it's just like, how do you do this level of art for an entire book this often? It's like there's so much variable there. So, I like I said, I think a good showing. Major Socks, what's your pulse of the community after Adepticon for the Star Wars stuff? Is it like, are we like racing, or are we like just kind of like, you know, a little excited?
I think everyone's getting excited, especially with all the previews that they just announced. Not just for Legion, but for Shatterpoint. I know a lot of people. I mean, Bruce is part of the Shatterpoint page. Everybody's getting excited for it.
Big time.
Yeah, and so I think it's getting more and more headway and speed, moving in the right direction. Especially like we just mentioned earlier. I mean, they're finally announcing they're doing something with Armada, and so that will get that community rolling back into the swing of things. I think we're going to start to see. They've already announced store kits for events starting next month, next month. Now that we're in April, the qualifiers for Worlds is already starting next month for X-Wing, Legion, and Armada already, and
which
so,
is good.
To qualify for Worlds, which will be next at DevCon. So I think it's getting more and more traction. I want to say that the Worlds tournament had 128 players there, but I want to say there was over 250 Legion players that was played on tables at Adepticon. So it's getting big at these event sites in terms of the number of players that are showing up. So,
well, hopefully AMG sees that, recognizes that, and fixes some of the rules they screwed up with the new edition.
I think
you can only
they will because so the top 8 players, 6 of those were Empire players. One of them was Separatist, and one of them was Galactic Republic. 5 of those 6 Empires were all Blizzard Force, and that's part of a specialized Empire list that you can bring. So I think they're definitely going to be making some changes on how some of those battle forces are structured, because if you're having 5 out of 8 forces all be one type or centered around one type of building your list, that's too much out of 128 players. That's and I want to say there was 62 Empire players out of the 128 World players. Over half the list were Empire players.
Jeez.
So
which doesn't say a lot for balance.
No, does not at all. So I can see them making some huge changes, points-wise, keyword changes, to kind of help balance that out, because there are some forces out there that definitely need some help. That way Empire's just not the only one that's rolling around. So,
yeah. All right. Shall we move on?
Yeah, I was going to say, moving on. That's just more of that. We've got Don't Look Back from Blacksite Studios. Bruce, what's happening with Blacksite Studios?
So part of this is something we've spoken about before. I did tease a couple of episodes ago that there's a new edition coming out. So there's a brand new hardback book. One of the limitations of Don't Look Back was done quite deliberately when it was first launched. It was only like a 20-page document. And obviously a short document means that you struggle getting everything clear and so on and so forth. So they're kind of going through everything and refining it. And not just refining it, expanding it. Like, this is a full-on hardback rulebook. I'm very, very excited for this. I had teased that it was coming, but it is currently in the process of going. There's still another 19 days left on this. There's currently 390 victims recruited, and I love the fact that they're calling them that. So Don't Look Back. Blacksite Studios don't use Kickstarter, quite deliberately. I mean, they have kind of talked a couple of times about how they might have to at some stage. Because the problem with not doing Kickstarter is obviously you don't get any of the marketing that comes with that. They do it themselves. They essentially do it as a crowdfunding, but it's a crowdfunding from their website. So yeah, I wanted to go through and kind of talk a little bit about what's happening. So the book itself, you can just buy the book, which will come with an extra mini and a digital copy of it as well. They have Tier 1, which will also include a cleaver measure. So we've seen the blade before, the kitchen knife blade. Mm-hmm. They now have a meat cleaver version of that, which is really fun. They're unsure whether that will be a long-term product. It might just be initially, and it might go away. They haven't made decisions on that. So I better buy it now so that I can get it before it goes away. And you're getting a brand new multi-piece killer pack and updated sculpts of all of the characters, and some new ones. And honestly, I love the new versions of the characters. They look amazing. I quite like the punk as well, actually. And Tier 2 is essentially the same thing, but you're also getting the expansions. So we have a sequel. They're calling them sequels because it's horror. So Blood on the Tracks 2 and Attack of the Greys 2. There was a few people asking about whether they were replacing the old ones or not. They're not doing that. On a stream, when was the stream? I want to say it was Friday night. Basically, there was the people in the chat that was asking about it, and he confirmed that no, the old ones will still be around. All of the old expansions will be getting updates at some point, and basically the updates will be updating them so that they're working. Like the new edition is not cancelling anything, so all of the stuff I've brought, I will still be able to use. They will be updated, and you will either be able to buy the entire thing again for those that don't own it, obviously. So if I wanted to, I could buy Attack of the Greys, like the original, or you will be able to buy just the updated bits. So I can just get the cards or just get the artwork and so forth to make my existing one updated. So I like the fact that they're doing that because it's very customer friendly.
So I also like this too, Bruce, just because this speaks to you. What I'm showing right now is the digital bundle, which is $98 US. The first slide, designed to accommodate our non-USA friends and 3D printing enthusiasts. Essentially, you'll get the PDF and STLs of the core heroes, the killers, and the backroom stuff, like all pre-supported and everything. So you don't have to spend the $50
or whatever.
Yeah, to ship it across the Pacific to you, Bruce. You could spend $98. You have to have your own 3D printer, but you can get all this stuff for yourself without having to pay the exorbitant shipping prices of international shipping. Which
is very difficult right now.
Yeah.
And then
unlocks wise, there's a whole ton of unlocks. Like we're getting, like I quite like Max's hot ride.
Yeah, I just got.
I love how all of this leans in.
Like, I'm not a big fan of '80s Camaros, but that's so fitting and perfect that it's an '80s Camaro.
Yeah, especially for a jock, it makes so much sense. The DeGraw security van is kind of like, it's a security van, so it's kind of boring, but also it's kind of really cool because it really works. DeGraw is the surname of one of the characters. One of the characters has an ability to call daddy, and he owns this business basically. That's also
the lab, the MDF lab kit. That is really cool.
I agree. So at this stage, we've gone as far as unlocking up to $68,000, which is the Traitor expansion, which is something we spoke about how I would love to see that happen at some point. That is going to be a very in-depth, because it basically changes the game entirely. It makes it a new game at that point. So that's most likely going to be slightly more expensive than the other expansions, because there's going to be a lot that has to go into this. But we still have unlocks all the way up to 100,000, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get up that far, honestly. Some of them are like expansions on the rulebook. Some of them are like extra expansions that you can purchase. Free minis that get included in the bundles.
Just under 20 days.
Yeah.
You still got just under 20 days for this left to go on. So yeah, you might be right. They might get close to the end of their unlocks.
Yeah, and Don't Look Back has been extremely successful for them. When they first launched Don't Look Back, apparently Ben was quoted to say, "Look, if we can sell 20 copies of this, I'll be very happy." And they've done nothing but tease him about it every launch ever since, because it did sell a lot more than that.
That's hilarious. I love how, it's like, if we just do this, I'll be really happy. Oh crap, we're busy as hell.
Yeah. And the Trader expansion is a $57 expansion, so it is definitely more expensive than the others, which is not a criticism. Like it has a lot of content in that. So
scrolling back up,
that's really well.
Yeah, scrolling back up through the list here, I'm really excited to see what that MDF kit's going to look like, just because on top of like a really cool game and a really cool concept for a game, Blacksite Studios has got some of the best terrain on the market. Not just because it looks cool, but it also comes pre-painted and looks that cool and takes up as much space as it does for the price. I mean, that's the one thing that I have not shut up about them is their terrain. And I'm really excited to see this laboratory, MDF kit. Like the possibilities for a terrain piece like that are just amazing.
George, keep on scrolling down because there are pictures of it further down. DeGore Corporation Northwood Laboratory. It's just after the minis.
It's after what?
If you scroll down on the website,
yep,
you'll get past like the unlocks and stuff, and it talks about unlocked products.
Yep.
You have the car, you have the security van, you have the killers, and then you have the lab.
So I'm seeing the security van. I see the MDF kit. Okay, I see what you're saying. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, that is the kit that you want to see pictures of.
So they have it ready to go. Gotcha. Okay. God.
This only went onto the website last night. They've been very busy, obviously post Adepticon and stuff. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this. I mean, I was already a big fan of the game. I have not backed this yet because things have been tight, but I will be backing this. I will be purchasing this. I'm currently trying to figure out. I kind of want to buy the physical stuff, but obviously, in my case, it does kind of make sense to go digital. As far as I'm concerned, I have to have the book anyway. Like physically, I have to have the book as far as I'm concerned. So I'm already going to be paying for postage, so I may as well get some minis at the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see. We'll see.
And then Meat Cleaver.
Oh, I want the Meat Cleaver. It's so much fun. The thing I like about it, because I'll then have both. So in theory, like there's two things to hand around to players instead of just the one all the time.
Yeah.
Not that you need the Meat Cleaver, but why would you not want the Meat Cleaver in a horror game?
Yeah. So next on the list, I have to ask you, Bruce, because all it is a Facebook link. We have Parabellum Games and Angry Chickens.
Yes.
Sitting on top of a pile of skulls.
Yep. So this is a mini that does actually exist. This is an exclusive. This is an event exclusive that you can get. But the thing I like about this is like it's completely something that doesn't matter. Basically, this is a monster that will invade your games under certain circumstances. At Adepticon, basically it was invading the field every time a bell went off, because there's obviously something about the bell at Adepticon that I've never been there, so I don't know. I really like this. The Angry Chicken started as a meme in the Conquest community, and they got behind it that much that basically they've created a mini out of it, which I love. And I think this looks amazing.
I think someone who plays Sigmar Khorne demons needs to get a few of these as a proxy for something in their Khorne list.
I would agree with you. Or it's a leader of one of the dogs. Do you get like Apex of the Khorne dogs? Because that's what I'd do. Is I'd throw it in with the dogs. Depends on the size of it though. I don't know. I just thought this was fun, so I wanted to point it out because it's fun.
So
it's not currently available, but it will come up again at whatever the next event is.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how companies do stuff like this. I don't have the information on it. I didn't think to share it. Have you guys heard of the paid company Turbo Dorks?
Yeah.
So
yes.
They had a event exclusive Adepticon Red that you can only buy it at Adepticon, and it's a really good looking red. I didn't think to grab any of the links for everything, but I saw it pop up on my feed a couple times, and it's like that's something different. Like, here's our event exclusive. You can use it on whatever mini you have, not here's this exclusive mini. I thought that, but what happens?
It's actually a fun idea. I like that.
Right? But what happens when it's like, crap, I'm out of this event exclusive paint. Now what do I do?
Yeah.
Oh, you buy it at Adepticon the following year.
What if they don't have it?
Well, you should have bought more of it. I don't know.
Moving on to...
I'm sorry if that sounds... But if it's something that you know is limited and may never come again, then you would be buying... If you intended on that being a main colour, you would buy enough for it to last.
That's fair.
I'd be very surprised if they don't do it again, though.
Moving on to TT Combat. I think you've heard us talk about them a few times.
Possibly.
Let's see.
Hi, Louie.
We've talked about that, so...
really like this.
We're going to start with the Unholy Union, which... well, the
Human
name kind of...
Centipede, but on steroids.
It's something. Yeah. The name's self-explanatory. It's an unholy union. There's nothing...
Pretty much.
Nothing right about this at all in any way, shape, or the form.
Nope, not supposed to be. So the doctors basically have this thing where they'll basically do really twisted experiments and stuff on their on the people under their care quite frequently, which ironically is something that used to happen in real life at the madhouses. And I'm calling them that for historical purposes, not because I'm having a go. And this is just taking that idea to as far as an extreme as you possibly can.
I mean, whoever sculpted this, well done, because they have taken it to a level of creepy, gross,
it's really creepy
and disgust without getting, profane or explicit about it.
I also quite like the Lacrimosa, which is the other one that's next to it on the page. I quite like those. They are kind of very simple, but that's fine. I mean, they're essentially just nuns, because, that's what they are.
They're nuns crying blood, Bruce.
I know. They're awesome. And then, for Rumble Slam, we have a brand new team being led by a man-bat, and there's a hero to go with them. And I seem to find myself saying this quite frequently. This might be my new favourite team. I love the man-bat. It's amazing. I love the fact that there's somehow a fan that's amongst the team there somewhere too.
With the giant foam finger, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Yeah. I really like this. This is just fun.
Here's the front and back of the man bat. I like the detail they did on the painting where like the red's like blood dripping into the white.
Yeah, I agree. And the hero, which is Minerva, is quite nice as well. Not that surprises me, because all of their minis are really nice.
So before we move on to that, there's actually two fan it looks like, because there's the one dude with the mohawk with the shirt that says #1 fan holding his neck like it's been bitten. And then you got the dude with the giant foam finger.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
So a couple of fans. And then Minerva. She has a bat. She has two bats.
She does.
She has a couple of them. 3 of them. She's got one of her arm and one flying in front of her and one behind her, kind of.
Multiple bats.
Yeah, very much so. As far as news is concerned, that's pretty much the end of it. I'm thinking that we will skip the aiming for the indie this episode and just continue on, I think.
Indie. Definition. Independent. Type. Slang word. Jargon.
So, hobby time. Bruce, what have you been up to?
Gee, I have so much hobby here. Not a lot hobby-wise, honestly. Most of my hobby time has been going into the game over the last couple of weeks. That and the bike, which will hopefully finally be working again by the end of next week.
So you can stop bad-mouthing public transport?
Oh, I was so unhappy that day.
I intentionally skipped you, Socks, because I know you're really excited. You want to talk about something. Socks, do you have something you want to talk about?
Well, we finally get to open up these, for one.
Well,
But,
we're going to go back to those.
We will go back to those. So, you guys know that I was going to be buying this. Well, I bought it, picked it up at the store. This is my Gettysburg set for Black Powder, Epic War. And, boy, do I have a lot of minis to paint. You won't see these, Bruce, just because of they'll be on the screen. But, yeah, that's one sprue, and I've got 6 of those.
Yeah, what'd you say, 2,000 minis?
Over 2,000 minis, yeah. So each of these little strips of soldiers has 10 individual soldiers on them. And so I've got 16 sprues like that to paint, 8 for each side. So, yeah, I'll be busy don't come talk to me for the next, I don't know, year or so.
Well, after you do your state priest.
Yeah, after we do our painting competition. Yeah.
So, I unfortunately, I'm still waiting for my Masters of the Universe Kickstarter pledge. I have been woefully disheartened by a recent message. Socks, did Miniature Market ship that to you?
Nope, I went and picked it up because I was in town.
Do you know why? Do you know why? Because on the 30th, Miniature Market has said they are turning off their phones and live chat features so they can respond to backlog emails and backlog orders, which means they're still shipping out Kickstarter and still having a problem with normal orders. So
I can pretty much guarantee you what the problem is there as well.
They're trying to maximize profits, so they're keeping staff low, and they do not have the personnel or infrastructure to ship for a store that large, as well as shipping out a Kickstarter that large.
Yeah, I'm more thinking, because, and this is not to discredit the fact that clearly they've been struggling, because, well, they're not hiding that fact. But I suspect that they're getting... Who remembers the hounding of emails for the Hawk Kickstarter? I suspect that's what's going on here. Is that there is people that are sending multiple messages every day until they get a response, and as a result, the backlog is just getting worse and worse and worse. Yep. And I'm not having a go at the people that are trying to get answers because they're frustrated, because of course they are. But when you have a company that's struggling to get the Kickstarter things out, and at this point it's only been 2 weeks, like, it's not that big of a... Don't get me wrong, I understand frustration, but
it's been 5
it's not
weeks.
like we don't know where it is.
It's 5 weeks now, Bruce.
Not since they got it. Really?
Yes.
No, still.
Yeah.
But it's not like nobody knows where the stuff is.
Yeah. No, I think the issue is, especially for, the fact that Miniature Market is owned by Asmodee, like, they're big enough where they could have the infrastructure to do this. They're choosing not to at this point. Because this is not the first Kickstarter they've done fulfillment for. They actually had to take over fulfillment for Mythic because Mythic's bargain basement fulfillment company went under. So Mythic went to the next best option, which for Mythic right now is the cheapest, which was this. So obviously, someone's not spending the money on infrastructure or personnel or whatever to probably fund a Kickstarter. But on to some cool news, though, for Hobby, as Socks pointed out. So
going back to mine, I also got that MDF building horse stable in my set too. So
cool! I didn't realize it came with terrain.
Is that the same place where
Sarisa? Yeah. No, it came in the Gettysburg box.
Nice.
It came with some terrain already and to play with the game.
I wonder if they're just like, we could design this, or we could just buy thousands of these off the shelf and then stick them in the boxes.
Yep.
They probably would have been designed specifically for the box, I suspect. That is a guess, though.
Yeah.
No, that you could buy that kit on its own through Warlord. They just shoved it in the box. That way you could have it.
I'm trying to make a decent deal.
Yeah,
I'm sure with as many copies as they bought for all those boxes, I'm sure they're like, yeah, we could sell them to you at this price, and yeah. So
that is how box shipping works,
right?
Yeah.
So back to this. Bruce, you can't hold yours up because you don't have yours with you, probably.
No, I was going to bring it, and I decided not to.
So, this being the 1st of April, starts the Getting Table painting competition. Starting at the end of this episode. There you go, Bruce. Just like Vanna White, except, yeah.
Nothing in your hand.
Starting now, we have a 24-hour period to work on the mini until, I'm going to say, the end of the month, the 29th, in your case, the 30th, Bruce, which gives you the extra day makeup, because that's our last episode of the month. We are going to paint these minis up, and we are going to put ourselves at the, what's the word? The mercy, yes, of our Patreons and whomever else, to see who did the best job of painting a skink priest.
Yep. So the idea is that, yeah, we're all painting the same mini, and then it's just for funsies. Like, there's no, other than bragging rights, I suppose, there's no real, we're getting this giant prize or anything. This is for fun. By all means, if there's other people in the community that want to join in on this, share your pictures and stuff with us.
Absolutely.
The rule that we set, because all of us have real-life work, is that we have 24 hours to work on it. That 24 hours can be split up over the month. But yeah, that's all you've got. So, and we're all going to be trying to film as much of it as possible, aren't we, you two?
Yes.
Oh yeah. That being said, though,
I'm glaring at you because it's not the first time I've had this promise.
If I do win, though, I am going to rub it in the next episode we record after it's announced. I will make sure people know.
That's fine.
Oh, look at Sock shaking his head.
It'll be fun.
I'm really
It'll
looking
be
for.
Fun.
I've been staring at it for the last 3 weeks. I just want to get going on it. I want to do the thing.
I know. I've been doing the same thing for the last week and a half.
So, and I guess we'll throw this in hobby time as well. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode, just because Bruce is on the travel and doesn't have quite everything with him. He has a legitimate reason of why he's traveling, so it's fine.
Yes.
Are you ready to do that? The draw, Bruce?
I am. I have it up on my tablet, ready to go. We have. Oh, go away. We have advertisements popping up on the website. We have a giant wheel here. How clear is the wheel?
It's very not clear.
It's very glared.
Oh, well. So we've got 39 entries. Basically, the rules were that for every month that you supported us, you got one entry into the competition.
Sit back.
So some of these entries are multiple people.
There you go.
Some people have more than others, but I am going to click this button, and we will see who it is. And it is Shay Wallace. Shay wins.
Congrats,
So,
Jay.
congratulations to Shay. He has won a full Shaltari fleet for Drop Fleet Commander. So he is getting the Dreadnought. He is getting the starter set. He is getting, the Shaltari starter set. He's getting a cruiser's box, and he's getting a frigate's box that'll all be sent out to him. And as far as I know, he doesn't live in an area where I can't do that, so we should all be fine.
I just messaged Patreon chat and tagged him in that.
Well done.
So it's happening live, folks. Well, as live as it can happen. Bruce,
I just want to make a point of saying thank you to everybody that did join us for this. I would hope that it's not the only reason that you joined, and I hope that you've been enjoying your time with us, regardless of whether you stay with us or not after the competition. We want to thank everybody that's been supporting us, because we are actually genuinely very close to breaking even at this stage. So, and we would still be a long way away if it wasn't for those people that joined us.
Actually, if I was eligible to win, I would have started putting in money too to get it, because
I mean, technically I am a Patreon, so, but I was not eligible for the competition. So
I still have my Shaltari Kickstarter set to put together. So,
so
that was our technically game talk.
Well, I'm just going to throw this out here as we're talking about this on the 4-year anniversary of the show. Why is SoundCloud being so difficult today? There we go. All time. So, for the last 4 years, for some reason, y'all have been tuning in for the grand total of 13,200 plays since 2016. That's an astounding.
Nice.
That's an astounding number, in my opinion. Because
Your math is off, George.
no, sorry, 13,281 plays.
No, you said 2016.
2019.
It's 4 years.
Yeah, it says, "Hey, getting tabled, you have 13,281 plays since 2016."
Oh, that's weird. The count's not old. The count's not old enough. They must just have a standard date on that then. That's weird.
Must be, yeah. All I know is that's what it says. That being said, I'm really proud of this, just because we came out gangbusters in Dropfleet Commander with LZ. We were the first podcast. Yeah. We took over, and we didn't look back. There's a couple others who popped up. They didn't hang around, et cetera, et cetera. And then we decided that that wasn't enough. So we're like, hey, let's just talk about everything to everyone. That's we
wanted to talk about what our hobby was.
Yeah, and that's a huge audience.
Everything.
Well, not just a huge audience, but a huge breadth of stuff to talk about.
Right.
Also, the downside, of course, of us doing this was that we then entered the same wheelhouse as all of the big names. So at that point, we're in competition with On Tabletop, who have actually been supporting us with access to their website. Like our videos and stuff quite regularly get posted on there, which is nice.
Yeah.
If you look for them. We also we're in the same wheelhouse as like Ash Barker and like all of the big YouTube names. Like realistically, we're not going to compete in that area. So I am very proud of how far we've gotten over the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And hopefully we continue to build.
So I just have to throw this out here real quick. The Patreon chat has lit up a little bit after my announcement.
Yeah, I like JP's.
Yeah, JP, our first and longest running supporter on Patreon, said, "Woo, dodged a bullet, no dots to paint."
Oh, that's good. Well done, JP.
So that's probably the best "I'm glad I didn't win" response I've ever seen, because I feel that.
Yeah.
Shay, this is a contractual agreement here. When you receive all these models and put them together, you will have to paint all the dots.
No, George, you don't, because George still hasn't painted all of his.
No, but this is this is part of winning the prize. In order for him to receive this prize, he has to agree to that.
No, he doesn't. I will enforce that on him the day that you turn up and prove that you have painted all of your dots.
I've put paint on all my dots.
On the top side, but not the bottom side. Come on, George. The entire model.
No, he's talking about the primer.
I know he has.
Upcoming events?
Tournaments, demos, conventions, that kind of stuff.
Boy, do we have a bunch of events upcoming. The first one is Conquest Games Convention, the 7th through 9th of April. That's coming up next weekend. Coburg Town Hall.
So that's the one for me locally.
That's in Australia. Bruce doesn't know if he's going or not. If you're in Australia...
I probably will.
If you're in the area, you could show up, go there and beat Bruce. In the game or with a baseball bat, doesn't matter.
Or go there and avoid Bruce. One or the other.
Fistful of Rice, Bushido Tournament, the 29th of April. Boards and Swords Hobbies in Derby, UK.
Speaking of Bushido, congratulations to friend of the channel, Jason, who won the Grand Masters at Adepticon.
Nice.
That's always, if you can walk away with the first place from something like Adepticon, that's something. Like, doesn't matter. Yeah. It's something.
Yeah.
Let's see. Then we have Salute, the 22nd of April in Excel Centre, London. And then PAX Australia, the 6th through 8th of October. Bruce, are you attending?
I will be there. Yeah, I haven't got my ticket yet, but I will be there.
Yay!
It's at the Melbourne Convention and Exhibition Centre again, where it always is.
And then last on the list is Northern King Con. That's KON. The 24th through 26th.
Yeah, I love that name.
Right. The 24th through 26th of November at Ossett West, Torqueshire.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is in the UK. It's £55, which gives you access to the full weekend, and it includes a hot lunch on both Saturday and Sunday. It's a bit of a bargain, actually. I think. I've
never heard of Torqueshire. That's why I was like double checking that you didn't hit the T instead of the Y, because I've heard.
Oh no, I did. It's Yorkshire. It's Yorkshire.
Oh, it is Yorkshire. Okay. That's
weird. I'm pretty sure I copied
Yorkshire.
And pasted most of that.
This
is a giant Mantic event, basically. That's 3 days of Mantic stuff. So there's a Kings of War tournament. So there's a Kings of War ambush tournament. There's a firefight tournament. There's singles for Kings of War. There's Dead Zone. There's Armada, and this is the ship game Armada, not the Star Wars Armada. So it's all Mantic all weekend. So this would be one that I would love to get to, but obviously I can't because I don't live in the UK.
Can't you just drive there?
Sure, I would just drive there. That will totally work.
Well, if you get some pontoons for your bike and you just go fast enough, you could, in theory, drive there.
Float, yeah.
Get one of those sand paddle tires.
Sure.
Again, like I said, this is going to be a little bit of a short episode. Like I said, Bruce is traveling, so thank you for him to take the time from his mother's celebration to spend time with us and all of you out there on this. So we're going to cut it a little short so he can get back to festivities. Thank you for everyone who has supported us over the years. If you do want to become a supporter, please become a supporter at patreon.com/GameTable. It's what is it, Bruce? $2 a month? $2?
$2 a month gives you early access to basically everything that we do. There is the occasional video that'll go out quicker, but that's very unusual.
No.
It gives you early access to the video edition of the podcast, which is going to be late this episode because I can't edit it until Tuesday.
But it's a small price to help us out and pay the bills and keep us going and keeping us doing this for you. You can find our stuff on the website, gettingtabled.com. Again, we it's because of supporters that we are able to have that. You can find most of our posts where we announce everything, facebook.com/gettingtabled. To watch the video version of this podcast and all the videos we do put out, you go to youtube.com/gettingtabled. Got any comments, questions, concerns, gettingtabled@gmail.com. And we have a Twitter and Instagram @gettingtabled, which I kind of want to use that for the painting competition to like kind of show off what I'm doing, but then you all will see what I'm doing. So I don't know if I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe keep track of it and then start sharing them afterwards, maybe?
I mean,
if you're going to use it, it just means that we can't look at it. But because we're not supposed to be looking at each other's work.
Right, but how are you going to share it then too?
Yeah. I would say keep a track of everything that you do.
Yeah.
And we can start sharing that process afterwards as like a tease for the video, maybe.
Sure. Bruce does have a Twitch. It is not the most active thing right now, but I'm still going to throw it out there so you can follow it and get alerts of when he is going to stream. And that is twitch.tv/JasonTheBruce. He's going to be kind of casual till September. So, till September.
Yeah, I'm working later hours at the moment, so I can't do a regular stream, unfortunately, just because of the way that real life is happening. There is one last thing that I want to talk about before we end, which is Valhalla Hobby. They are a sponsor of the channel. They are the only reason. Well, they are the reason that we can afford to have gettingtabled.com. And it's nice to actually have like an actual community store being somebody that's actually sponsoring us. I kind of like that. It's that rather than it being some business or we're pretty careful with offers that we accept and so forth. So it was very, very much grateful. The thing I like about Valhalla Hobby is it's not just the big names. I mean, yes, obviously there is Warhammer, D&D, so on and so forth. If there's something that's big you're into, they have it. But he's very, very passionate about the small side of the industry as well.
Yep.
So he has Bushido, Conquest, Infinity. Like, he has all of the indie stuff. If there's something out there that you're interested in, you're struggling to buy, if he doesn't have it, they will be able to get it for you, pretty much. So, valhallahobby.com. Correct me if I'm wrong on the code. I believe it's GT2305.
It is.
You get 5% off any order over $100.
Yeah, GT2305.
Yay!
Well, with that, gentlemen, I think it's time for this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For listening to Getting Table. Music used in this podcast was created by Eric Matyas at soundimage.org.
I can't believe I called you both gentlemen.